So you want to make a movie. My first film, which is Sebastian, the Slumberland Odyssey, it all started out as a series of stories that I told my brother when he was younger, and then that sort of evolved into the graphic novel, and then it was just sort of an idea that was always haunting me. It was always there. It was always there. It was always there. And so I really wanted to tell that story. And so the notion of being able to tell the story of this magical world is really appealing to me. And it's sort of like I had finally acquired the powers to do it. I knew how to do CGI effects. So I was like, all right, I'm ready to do it. So I think that played a big part of it. I think there was also a lot of ignorant bliss. And I think ignorant bliss is a beautiful thing, because you go into these things without knowing anything, and you're fearless, because you know it's stupid, but you're fearless, and you do them, and then it's painful because you learn. But I think that's something that's very powerful. You know, this ignorant bliss of like, I'm just gonna do it. So I'd say, like, for me personally, what has worked has been that, not overthinking it. Not thinking about what am I going to do next? What if it doesn't work? What if I run out of money? Like, I don't think that way. I'm just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out later. So in order to make this project happen, the first thing was to get a script done. So like I said before, I had no prior writing skills as far as school is concerned. I had maybe took a few courses here and there. So what I did is I took a turbo mode approach to it. I started trying to figure out who the best writers in the world were, what was going on in the writing world at the moment. And so I started tracking down writers that I really respected and loved and liked. And it took me about a year to track and annoy.
Like who?
Well, for example, I loved Pan's Labyrinth, so I wanted to know how Guillermo had created that story. So I looked up IMDb. I just went online. I was like IMDb, and I saw, okay, who were the producers, who were the writers? He was the writer, and who was involved in making that movie. And I just literally started contacting all those people, asking, hey, do you know so and so? Do you know this person that might know this person? And little by little, I started reaching some of the producers, and I was lucky enough to meet with Berta Navarro and talk to her about my passion and talk to her about my project. And she was very kind, very sweet to me. And she has a writer's program, and she invited me over to be a part of it. And that was huge. That was a huge gift. It took a year, but it was worth it. So I went down there, and it was amazing. It was another one of those Jedi Academy experiences. You know, you go there and you meet with other talented writers, and I don't know what I'm doing. They clearly know much more than I do. But I just have that inner ignorant bliss, and I'm just like spewing out my ideas and talking to people and blah, blah, and everybody's kind of freaked out because they're like, who is this guy, right? But I'm there and I'm connecting, and I made some good friendships, and it turns out that I made some friendships with some really powerful writers, and I kept in touch with them, and I just asked them straight out, I said, can you help me? I don't know anything. Can you help me? I want to be a writer. And they said, yeah, sure. They're so open, you know? So, it's not always the case, but like I said, I think I was lucky. So I just kept in contact with them. And then, I think also what happens in my life too is I'm very open with my intentions, and I just say them. I just tell my friends, I need this, help me out, right? And even if they can't help me right away, they'll help me later. So I have this friend of mine who's really involved in the Mexican film industry behind the scenes. He's more on the financial part of things. And I said, listen, man, I'm in this journey to become a writer. I need your help. Help me out. And I didn't hear from him for about 3 or 4 months. And then he came back. He said, hey, listen, I got a list of these 2 writers, and they're offering courses. You should go. And I did. And the first one was in Mexico, and I didn't have a lot of money at the time. So I had to make a choice. I was like, do I take this job and I'm able to pay rent? Or should I just fly down there and take this course? And I said, screw it. I'll just fly down there and take this course. And I did it, and it was amazing. It was a super powerful experience. It was like, it was so good. It was you get to be in person with these people and talk to them. And it was very powerful and very useful, right? And one of the things that one of these writers told me that was really great is like, if you want a really good writer to read your script, like you know, if you're lucky enough to find like a Hollywood big shot or something, don't give him a draft, because you only get one shot. Give him your best shot. And just so you know, like some of these guys were talking to me and they were giving me perspective, and they said, because I was like, oh man, I'm on my 3rd draft, I'm so close. And they're like, it took me about 56 drafts to get to where I am. And that blew my mind. You know, I was like, oh my God. Blissful ignorance destroyed, you know? So that's, you know, keep that into consideration. Like any other craft, it takes about 10,000 hours or 8 years to become a master at it, doing it every day, every 365 days of the year. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to get really good on your first try, like I thought I was going to, you know, nail it. So anyways, I took this course, and then the last one. So anyways, back to here, I was like able to pay my rent. It was hard, but I was able to do it. So somehow things always worked out, because I was able to sort of put that time back into it, work extra overtime. So, you know, I did it. And then that friend that I was telling you about in Mexico, he was like, hey, there's this guy who is a script doctor. You know, he'll take your script and help you figure out certain things. And he's very famous, and he's really good, and he's really expensive. And right now he's in London. And I think you should go to London to see him. And I'm like, that's a very expensive trip. I can't make that. He's like, all right, well, you know, just what do you know? And man, he knows me really well, because now I had that bug in the back of my head. I was like, God damn it, I gotta go to London. And I went to London. I pulled out my entire savings that I had left, and I went to London. And I went to London, and it was one of the best trips of my life. It was amazing. It was incredible. And I talked to more writers, and I talked to John Truby is the name of the guy. So and I talked to John, and I approached John, and I showed him my stuff, and he was very, very nice, very gentle, and very kind with his time, and it was very powerful, you know. So in short, what I was saying is I've taken some risks to approach the best of the best, and it has worked in that I hope it has accelerated my learning. But that is no compensation for the time that you have to put in. I still have to put in my 10,000 hours. I still have to write my 86 bad drafts before I get a good one. So, you know, that's sort of how the writing process went about, developing the script for Sebastian. So that's why I'm like, right now, yeah, I have a finished story, but in my mind, I just got to keep polishing it. You know, there's so much more stuff I got to keep dragging it, but maybe if I keep thinking that, it'll never be done. You gotta call it quits at some point. So once the script was done, I was like, okay, so how do I take a part of the story and tell something about it? How do I say this in a 2-minute trailer, right? What do I want to say about this movie in a 2-minute trailer? And a few ideas came to my mind, because I knew already just developing the script, like if you're writing, you're imagining this stuff, and then what happens is I'm very obsessive. I'm extremely obsessive. I obsess about an idea, and I just don't let it go until it's done. And so what happens is, like, you have the story, you put the script down, and you go to bed, and you're dreaming about these things, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get these out of my head. It's like a sickness. Creativity is like a cold. It's like a bad virus. It infects you, and it doesn't let you go until you spit it out and can make somebody else, infect somebody else with it. That's what creativity is a virus. And so, I was like telling my wife all these ideas, and she's like, just do it. And I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So a lot of planning went into it. So what I did is I didn't want to show a trailer that was like any other trailer, where you're showing the best parts of the movie, or where you're actually telling the story of the movie. I wanted the trailer to be poetic, and I wanted the trailer to leave you thinking, what the hell is going on? That's what I wanted. I want you to see these images and question yourself and say, I'm intrigued. I want to know what happens next. That's it. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to tell you what the story was in full. So I wrote a poem, and out of this poem came the imagery and the script. So I had this poem and it became a song. So this is the song that all the dream hunters in the story sing before they go out and dream. And it's like a hymn, right? And so the word sort of started spawning this story in my mind for the trailer. But it was a very deliberate decision. So you have to have a direction. You have to know where you're going. And you have to be willing to accept the consequences. Because my friends would say, oh, you know what, man? Like, no, dude, you got to tell the story because people are not going to be able to associate with it. Or you have to do it in these beats. Or you have to do it this or that. And they all have valid input. But that's not what I wanted to do. Whether I fail or succeed, I want to tell the story I want to tell in the way I want to say it. So a lot of planning went into it. I was lucky enough to meet with Carlos Pedrosa and Andres Martinez, which were previous artists, and they had both worked on the Matrix movies as senior artists, senior layout artists, I believe, senior map painters, and actually VFX supervisors. I'm not really sure. I'm butchering their titles, but they're really good. And I met them, and they were so nice and so kind with me. And I said, hey guys, I have this idea. Can you help me bring it to life? And they said, sure. So I told them about it, and then we got together and we made an animatic. We used Autodesk Maya, and we created what I had spoken about before, a play blast. So a very rough animation of the camera, very rough animation of the water. I wanted to block in all the scenes. So they helped me do all that stuff. And once I had the animatic, then I knew, okay, so this is my trailer. I'm going to cut it. I cut it myself, which was a really bad idea. You gotta get somebody that's really good at what they do, right? So, but I cut it, and then I had a sense of it. And then once I cut the trailer, I was able to take each shot, each scene, and make a shot list. Okay, so for this shot, I'm going to need these lights. I'm going to need this setup. I'm going to need this camera. I'm going to need this, and that. This wardrobe, everything, right? For every single shot. I think the trailer has something like 46 shots or something. Like, there's a lot of shots in there. Maybe less, I don't know. But there was a lot of shots. And so once you have your shot list, in your breakdown, your visual effects breakdown, what are you going to require? Then I approached producer Lionel Frid, and I said, "Hey, I want to film this. I don't have a lot of money, which is the next part, financing.